The winter sports we have, as you know, are boys and girls basketball, boys and girls ice hockey, boys and girls indoor track, wrestling, swimming, cheerleading. What's the other one? What is that? I think that's it. I think I named them all. Actually, I have them right here in front of me. I should look. Except I can't see. What I'd like to do is first introduce the coaches that are here. So we do split up. You know who to look for, or find your son or daughter and go with them to the designated area. First, from our boys basketball team here tonight is Derek Bennett, head coach. Randy. He was our JV coach the last few years and has bumped up to varsity. Last year we were able to steal a coach from a local school to do our freshmen, and now he's bumped up to the JV, and that's Randy Jepson. We also got a coach from another local school to do our freshmen this year, but he had a prior commitment, and that'll be Trey Whittle. Not here tonight, but he will be coaching. On the girls' side, our varsity coach started last year, I believe, Madeline Merchant down here in front. The assistant this year is a coach from a number of years ago who did our JVs as well. He's away this week because he took the job late, but that'll be Mike LeClaire. Some of you might know him from the newspaper articles. Right now, we presently have an opening for freshman girls. Unfortunately, we have a lot of openings for players. I'm not sure we're going to be able to host 3 teams this winter. We're pretty sure it's going to have to be varsity and JV, so all the freshmen may be getting a lot of playing time on the JVs, but we'll see what happens. Our 2 wrestling coaches, our head coach is Chris Godfrey. And one of our wrestlers from a number of years ago, Lucas Stefano, the assistant. Our 2 cheerleading coaches, Yolanda Doran and Abigail Higgins, right here in front. The 2 ice hockey boys coaches that are here, we have Mr. Steve Lowney, and the next Monty Tech hockey player and good man, Noah Saracen. Now the 2 girls coaches I don't think could make it tonight, but if there's anybody here for girls ice hockey, anybody raise your hand. Do you know about the meeting tomorrow, Thursday night? Is it 6? Right. Anybody for girls ice hockey? There's a meeting at the Civic Center at 6 o'clock on Thursday, and I believe we have about 4 or 5 girls signed up. So I'll meet with you, anybody from ice hockey, as soon as we're done, just to go over details about riders, all right? But the coaches are Nancy LeBlanc, and I don't know who the girl that was from Oakmont, I can't remember her name. Who was the coach from Oakmont? I don't know. But she helps out as well. For swimming, our coach, assistant, Francis Friel, and he'll talk with the swimmers. The head coach is Lisa Arsenal, and they've actually added a couple teams this year, and they're going to be practicing pretty much Monday through Friday. So it's going to make the team a lot better. And then from track, the longtime coach here at Monty Tech, indoor and outdoor, head coach Anthony Moninsky. And our assistant coach will be named as soon as he sees me. Okay, as you know, my name is David Reed. I am the athletic director. I've been here a few years, and it's been a pleasure, especially meeting with all the young people and the parents. Now, what I want to talk about quickly, if you have not signed up on our homepage, www.montytech.net, right-hand side of the page, if you use your phone, sometimes it doesn't show the right-hand side of the page. But you'll see a winter sports sign-up. Takes 20 seconds. That way I can check your physical, your eligibility, and you'll be all set for the coaches on the 27th of November. That's the first day of practice. You got 3 weeks, all right? So sign up on that first. Then I'll have another sheet for the coaches to show what paperwork and stuff you have passed in. And what that is is as follows. You're going to need a clearance for practice card or form. And I believe Mrs. Hall, is she? Mrs. Hall, who works in the tech office, was going to be here to kind of go through the sign-up procedure. We're transferring over till maybe by the spring it'll definitely be ready, but it's ready now if some of you want to try it. But to go online and do all your forms online, and then they're automatically saved, you don't have to bring anything in. But I have to have her here to explain it. I'm not a computer guru, so if she doesn't come, we can do the paperwork. The forms needed, as I said, it's a clearance for practice card or form if you download it from our website. If you played a fall sport, all this paperwork is already done and you're all set, except for one form we'll explain at the end. The second form is the student parental agreement. You and your parents would sign this in stating that you understand the rules of the school, the rules of the MIAA, and that you will take care of your uniforms and return them at a timely fashion at the end of the year, not 7 months later. The next one came out, I don't have the cover sheet here, but it was when Governor Baker was in charge, and he instituted this opiate use and misuse activity, which was prevalent at the time, and it still is. But there's a flyer that you'll be able to get online to look at for you and your son or daughter, but you sign off that you understand the use and misuse of opiates and how to stay away from them. Another form. All these forms will need a parent and student signature. You also should put down the year of graduation, anticipated at graduation, and also your sport you're playing. So that way we know where it goes. Now the next one gets a little complicated because it's the concussion courses. And it tells you on the sheet that's in the packet if you get it tonight, or if you've done it, you know. You go to this website, actually, if you go to our website, and on the bottom of the page is an athletic icon. Bottom of the page, it says concussion courses. You hit that, and it gives all the explanations here. The key, your son or daughter should register first. They get a username and password, take the course for students. Takes about a half hour, I'll be honest. Unfortunately, the MIA requires both to do it each year. You don't have to do it in every sport, but at least once every school year. Now, this is where it gets tricky. If the parent now goes into the same thing under the student name and goes to the parent course, don't panic. When you download the certificate, it'll have your son or daughter's name on it, but the name of the course is different. The student one says concussion for students. The parent one says concussion in sports. And the reason we need to do it that way, because they're two separate sheets. And if I get a parent one and they happen to have a different name than their son or daughter, I have no idea who it belongs to. So I'll be looking for the concussion form most of the season. So make sure you can do that. Put your son or daughter's name on it and get that in as well. Again, it takes about a half hour each. And the last form, which if you're new, you'll have to do, or if you played a sport, you'll have to do, and that's the disclosure form for concussions. This, if you're new, it's just any concussions you may have had over the years. If you played a fall sports, it's whatever concussions you may have had recently and before. The reason is every concussion gets worse. If it's your second or third concussion of this school year, you're going to be treated differently. Now, the problem we have right now is we do not have a trainer. Coaches are going to have to take care of this. Parents at home, when you take the concussion course, you'll see what has to be done. So if your son or daughter comes home and they're having headaches, or they can't sleep, or whatever it might be, it's something that should be reported to the coach immediately. Because they have to go through a protocol for concussions. Usually 5 days, it could be 7, of doing certain things and to make sure that they're free of their concussion. Or they go to their own primary care physician and get the clearance form. But the thing is you can't just blow them off. Concussions are serious, may not be right now, but when they get older, as you see these major league football players, concussions are a problem for them. Memories lost, other things going on. So we want to make sure we hit the concussion forms right away, and if your son or daughter has one, to get treated. We don't want to just ignore it. So that's the forms needed to play. The next thing, which the nurse has been working with me to keep track of physicals all year, is that they must have a physical. Understand, your physical for your son or daughter is good for 13 months. So if they had one last November, they're good until December sometime. But they may need one before the season's over, or if they don't have one, we offer 2 days of free physicals. One on November 20th, and one the day we start practice, both at 8 o'clock in the morning. But you must sign up for that physical. The form you're going to need is the pre-participation physical evaluation. You and your parents fill it out, check off the questions, yes or no. Both of you sign it. Bring this back to me ASAP, but at the top, put down what day you want to get your physical. The reason we're doing 2 separate weeks, we have some seniors that might be on co-op, they can't get them, but now they got another week they can. So it'll work out well. If you have one and you're going to need one later, and you already have a doctor appointment, that's fine. But make sure you do it within that 13 months, or you're going to be missing practices once we get to that point. So I'll have these available at the end if anybody needs them to be able to sign up for our physicals. Age is another factor. Technically, if you are or were 16 before September 1st and you're a freshman, you're not considered freshman age-wise. Because you only get 4 years of eligibility, you'll be 19 by the time you're a senior, and you can't be 19 before September 1st to be eligible. There are some factors involved where a waiver could be obtained for you. But what we look at is your attendance, your grades, and everything else throughout your 2 or 3 years to make sure you're going to be okay. They just feel having a 16-year-old playing with 13 and 14-year-olds on the freshman level is not a good scenario. But we'll look at that as we get sign-ups. If you're a transfer student in the 10th, 11th, and 12th grade, I need to know that because there's forms that got to be filled out. It's called the Form 200 from your sending school to verify we did not recruit you, why you transferred, I'm assuming it's because you want to trade, or if you moved. Now, if you moved, you could be automatically eligible without doing anything. And that's important. I think there's one person I've already spoke to, just came into the school during the soccer season and moved from Shawsheen to the Fitchburg area. He was at Shawsheen Tech, wanted to come to Monty Tech, and he was eligible right away because he fulfilled that movement out where he lived. I mentioned the time of participation. You get 4 years to play once you enter your freshman year. So you get 12 seasons, basically. And over that time, there are waivers that have been obtained. Someone gets hurt, they have to stay back their sophomore year because they couldn't finish it. You might get that waiver if you fulfill it for the 4 years. You may get the 5th. But if you're also too old and you're looking for a 5th, it gets tougher. So make sure you take care of that. Now, right now, grades closed, I believe, last Friday. So that is going to determine the eligibility of you for the winter season to start with. You cannot fail trade or any 2 academic subjects. And I've been going through them right now, and there's not too many. I'm very amazed when I'm looking at the grades of the students that we have coming out of what they are. A lot of good grades, but we also have a few that haven't made the cut. So I'll be letting the coaches know probably the end of next week who's eligible and who's not. The next one is really important because it does come up. The bona fide school rule or the loyalty to the high school team. This states, used to be way back in the 70s and some of the 80s, you could not do two things in the same season, in school or out of school. They changed that where you're able to do two things in the same season, but you can't skip your high school sport to do it. If you're doing an indoor soccer league in the winter and you're playing basketball, you can't skip a basketball practice or a game to go to that indoor soccer thing. Can you do both? Absolutely. But you can't skip the high school one to do it. There is a penalty, and it used to be 25%, but now it's one game, and one game every time after. So that's the other thing, bona fide school rule. See, I'm almost finished already. Buses. Monty Tech is pleased to give our kids rides home. We will, the first 2 weeks, we will have a 4:15 and a 6 o'clock bus every day, Monday through Friday. They take you to the center of the town or city you live in, or vice on the way if you're in Fitchburg or Gardner, you may get dropped off at certain spots. After the first day or two, parents will know what time it's coming to that area, so you should be all set. So 4:15 and 6, coaches will let you know, but it's also posted in 3 spots down near the gym. For the kids, if you walk straight down the hall, you have a bulletin board right there, we'll have it on the bulletin board. As you go around the corner, down the boys' hallway, it's on that bulletin board. And then it's also posted in the main lobby, foyer lobby, on that bulletin board. The practice schedule of the week, when the late buses are, when games and scrimmages might be. You should go by that, because that's the one that is upkept the most. Regular schedules are pretty much going to be put online shortly. Once the assigners put them on, you can go right there and you'll hit the athletic icon on the homepage, go to schedules, and it'll pop up. Otherwise, they're on the board down in the gym, and they'll be up by the end of next week. The only thing is, ice hockey, boys, you'll have to look at Fitchburg High's schedule to get your schedule if you're a parent, because it's not on our website, it's on theirs. For girls ice hockey, it's on the Leominster one, and I know she's passing out schedules to the kids on Thursday night, so you should be all set there. For swimming, it's on Gardner's website, but I know the coach will be passing out some stuff there as well. Everything else is on our website. Sportsmanship. This is really one of the things I really push. You want to treat away teams, parents, guests, with the same respect that you would like to get at their place. Does it always happen? Absolutely not. But you never lower yourself to the level of the opposing team. Be much better than them. Display good sportsmanship all the time, with language, cleaning up your bench area at the end of the game, being polite, showing respect for you, your team, and Monty Tech. And that's what I need for you to do. If there's an unsportsmanlike thing happening here at Monty Tech, whether you get thrown out of the game or not, you could lose game exposure or suspension because of it. And I'm here at most. Mouthpieces are still required for ice hockey. They're optional for basketball and wrestling. But as you know, teeth are very, very expensive if you get one knocked out. I would recommend, we have plenty of mouthpieces. If you need one or two, see me and I'll make sure you get one. There are some new rules on wearing jewelry. I still believe, because of safety, because of security, you should lock up any jewelry you have, including piercings, in your locker. If you're wearing them at practice and you can't wear them in a game, that's ridiculous. Earrings, they hurt if they get ripped out of your ear. Other piercings hurt too. So make sure, coaches, you have them take them off and lock them up in their lockers, which you'll all get a lock and lock, which reminds me that every day I walk through the locker rooms down here, and there's at least 7 to 14 locks that aren't locked. I don't know why we gave them to them. They got stuff in there that can be stolen very easily. You give it a lock, use it. Make sure your stuff is locked up. The last thing I'll talk about before we go to split is insurance. In today's society, insurance is tough to get, or you may have lost your job or whatever, but Monty Tech does offer a 24-hour, 365-day insurance policy for athletics, and it's about $60. But you got to register online. That's the only thing I forgot to bring down here, but if you call me or have your son or daughter come in, I will make sure that they get the form for insurance. So it's a good coverage. Your insurance kicks in first if your son or daughter gets hurt. Monty Tech Sports insurance kicks in second. Then whatever's left, this insurance would help out and cover that. What I mean by that is we travel. We're in Framingham, we're in Charlton, we're in Worcester. And if your son or daughter has to take an ambulance ride from one of those spots, and the cost is extremely high, our insurance company may only pay what they think is the going rate. So you end up getting a bill. And if you had this other insurance, basically takes care of it. We had an incident about 2 weeks ago. Freshman football player dislocated his elbow. And things were a little serious at the time. He did have surgery, but because of whatever insurance he had and Monty Tech has, he should be all set. But we also had someone a number of years ago that tore his knee up the first football game, and he had it taken care of with surgery. Well, 2 years later, he had to go back in for surgery, and he had forgotten to fill out the accident report, and they almost weren't going to cover it. So make sure, number one, report all injuries to your coach. And coaches, make sure you report them to me or the school nurse. Until we get a trainer, that's the only method we have of making sure our kids are going to be taken care of in the future. So any injury you might have, report it. If it's split finger, report it. It could get infected. So we want to make sure everything's reported. Now, very quickly, are there any major questions that might be had by anybody out in the audience? Do so, raise your hands, and I'll try to answer them. All right, 25 minutes, that's pretty good. So I got about 3 or 4 more minutes. Now, the other thing that happens for our upperclassmen, there are things that you're going to be doing through this school year. And hopefully you're going to make a commitment to the athletic team. One of the major things is co-op. If you're on a co-op job and you can't make it to practice or games, it's going to be very hard for you to participate because you're not here. I mean, I coach too, and my kids know that they have to get there to most of the practices. Now, for me, I'm outside, so if they come a little late, I can deal with that. But if they're missing them completely, it's not fair to the kids that are there every day, and they're not going to build that bond with the rest of the kids. So decisions are made in lifetime, and you as a student have to make a decision at that point. You're either going to play a sport or do the co-op. And I know it's tough. Co-ops are great. I know they are. And you're probably not going to play a sport, though, for the rest of your life after high school. So sometimes you're going to make that decision. Some co-op places are very good, and they'll let you out or they'll let you drive. But it's very difficult, depending on your co-op job. If you're traveling around the state, they're not going to bring you back just for your practice. Maybe they'll let you drive. Maybe they won't. So there's a decision you're going to have to make. Life is full of them. So as seniors, you're going to have to start making some soon. I think some juniors get co-op halfway through the year. Is that true? Yeah. So you may have to make a decision for the spring. So remember that when you're looking at co-op. They all push co-op here, which I think is great. But you got to remember, if you want to play sports, you got to be there at practices and games. So there are no questions? All right, as we split up, don't get up and leave right away, but remember, if you think you need a form, come down front. Oh, I forgot. This is Catherine McGee. She's my assistant in my office, does a great job. She'll be passing out some of the paperwork if you need it. For the physicals, for the disclosure form, and for packets if you need them. That was it. Now, for boys basketball, when we split, you're in this back left room over here. Girls basketball, the back right room on this side. Wrestling, you're going to be right down here in the front. Ice hockey boys are down here in the front left. Now, ice hockey girls, and you may be the only one here, so you're not going to see me, all right? Swimming, now we've changed. You're going down to Mr. Farr's room, which is out that door, and Mr. Green room. That's where you'll be going. Indoor track, you're up in the middle back. Hopefully we have enough room. And cheerleading, we'll meet out in the foyer. Okay? Questions? Thank you for coming. Have a great evening.